Welcome to my reptile room tour. In this video, you're going to see animals like this here is popcorn and the world famous Diego, and animals like this amazing Savannah monitor. So for those of you who are new around here, my name's Richard. This channel's called Northern Exotics. We talk all things reptile related. We're not your normal sort of pet YouTuber. We deal with an awful lot of reptile education. Anytime some new information comes out regarding anything, so lighting, technology, heating, the lot, we'll bring that information straight to you from all of our professional contacts. If this is something you're interested in learning about, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And while you're down there, why not hit the thumbs up button, because this is going to be an awesome video. Right, so we're going to start off right now with this enclosure right here. This is Popcorn, our sunglow boa constrictor. Down here is Hugo, our Savannah monitor. We'll get onto him a bit later. Let's go and meet Popcorn. And the power of magic and me lifting up the tripod, here's Popcorn. Hugo, do you mind? Stop scratching. I'm trying to film Popcorn. I know you're jealous. I know you're camera friendly and stuff, but come on. Give me a second, I'll get to you. So this here is Popcorn. He's our 4-year-old male kahl sunglow boa constrictor. He's absolutely amazing, and as you can tell, we're finally getting him a little bit more handleable. As you can tell, he's absolutely amazing. Now let me run you through his enclosure. This is the enclosure. It's lit up with white python LEDs. Now we are looking at going fully UVB in here eventually. Like I've said, this video is our January reptile room tour, so this is the before room tour. You wait till the end of the year, there's going to be so many improvements. But this is lit up with a white python LED system, and it's heated with a CHE, a ceramic heat element. This enclosure is 6 foot wide, 3 foot deep and 3 foot tall, and it really does suit him. He's only around about 5 foot long, maybe coming up to around about 6 foot. I'll stick a picture on screen now of a video I took of him the other day, stretching the full length of the enclosure. This is why you need big enclosures for snakes. So many people say you don't need huge enclosures. I prefer the huge enclosures because they get to stretch out, they get to work those muscles to digest the food down. They're just absolutely amazing. Now Popcorn here was always bred to be a breeder. He wasn't really handled that much. So when we got him, he was a little bit nippy and he could take chunks out of you, to the point where he did take a chunk out of me. That made me a little bit nervous. I've done the typical, when you get bit, you're a bit nervous and a bit back. Thank you to a few of the subscribers who said just grab him and just get straight back into it, because that's what I did and it worked. Check out Popcorn now. I've put him back in and he's hiding out in a little tube. There you go, look. So that is basically just a drain pipe tube. You can see it stretching up, and I've got a couple of holes, one at the top there, one where his head's coming out, and he goes in the bottom, out the top. It's on the angle, so if he wants to thermoregulate, he can perfectly well. We've got a load of these branches in here. Now this platform is just basically a waste of space. I put that in because just to give him the option, if he wanted to get a bit warmer, he can get up there and get a bit warmer. But it's a smooth surface, and basically he went up there, he slipped and slipped and slipped and managed to worm his way onto those branches right at the end, and he basically just stayed up there. So I'm gonna have to rough it up, maybe even shorten it down a little bit to about there because it's on the angle, and I'm thinking about putting a big hide on there, a big hide just like this one down here. It's just a plastic tub with a hole cut out in it, which he never actually uses, which is quite strange because this is his hot side of the enclosure. Instead, he hangs around in that bottom corner. As you can see, it's all flat and everything like that. He's got a big water dish over there, and he's got Butterface all the way over there. Now, the whole purpose of adding all these extra branches, if you're new around here, you won't know this, but the OGs of the channel, the people that have been subscribers for so long, would know I only had a couple of branches in here and that tube at the back. That's all I ever had. And then, but he always resided behind that Butterface. He was just coiled down there. Now that's the cool side, and he wasn't digesting properly. So I added a ton more branches, loads of bigger hides, this little platform, and now he sleeps under there with his head poking out down there. And he digests absolutely perfect now. So he must have just been his comfortable spot over there. Right, this is his enclosure. Absolutely amazing. What are the future plans for this enclosure? I'm going to add a lot more naturalistic stuff, so a better hide. I'm going to add more hides, so one there, maybe one over there as well, but I don't really want him down the cold side too much. Yeah, I want him down there to stretch, but I don't want him down there to actually sleep because it just doesn't work. I have got big plans for his water bowl. You may remember a video I've recently done making this water bowl. So it's a water bowl with a plant, a little calcium dish. That's for the leopard geckos. Well, I'm planning on making one virtually similar, but more jungle themed, to go in here with that big water dish there. It's going to be absolutely amazing. If you want to see how I made that video, I'll stick a card just up there. Just click on that and it will take you straight through to it. Let's move on away from popcorn for a minute. And then we move on to the guy that started off my reptile obsession, Diego. A standard, boggo standard bearded dragon. Nothing absolutely special, but to me, he's amazingly special. Now, he was the first animal we got. He's a 5 or 6 year old bearded dragon. I would say he's a rescue, but he wasn't. We just took him from someone who didn't exactly know what they were doing. But at the time, we didn't really know what we were doing. But we've had him for a fair few years now, and he's absolutely amazing. He's an Eastern Australian bearded dragon, which is the most common sort of pet bearded dragon you're going to find in the trade. And yeah, that is Diego. There's nothing really special about him, apart from the fact that we've had him for a fair few years now. His enclosure is absolutely amazing though. It's a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot enclosure. Full rock worked background, which I built myself. That was the whole polystyrene, cover it in grout, paint it up nice, seal it, all sorts of thing. And his lighting is quite fascinating actually. His UVB lighting is the Reptile System's 25 luminaire. Let me explain that out because it's extremely fascinating. It's a 12% UVB and a 6% UVB, both set on different plugs and different timers, so that you can have the 6% UVB come on first thing in the morning to replicate a sunrise, and then the 6 will go off and the 12 will come on, just like your normal 12% UVB that your bearded dragon needs. Absolutely perfect. Come the middle of the day, just like in the wild for these animals, the 12 will come on and the 6 will come on to replicate that slightly higher UVB output that they would naturally have in the wild. Diego has got enough hiding spaces. If he wants to get out of the UVB rays, he can, just like he naturally would in the wild. Then, a few hours later, both bulbs are on, the 6% will go off and just leave the 12% until it becomes sunset time, and then just the 6% for an hour or so. And then it's a perfect UVB gradient that these animals would naturally see in the wild. They are absolutely amazing. If you want to see more about that actual product, because it is mind-blowing and fascinating in all aspects, I'll stick Reptile Systems' actual promotional video about this product. FYI, I made that video and I'm dead proud of it, so if you can, go over and check it out. I'll link it just there. His hotspot is basically one of those flat Exoterra hides people use for bigger corn snakes. Now the reason I'm using that is because it will absorb heat into the airspace underneath and just keep it that little bit warmer throughout the entirety of the night. And it just benefits him. He loves it. Bit of belly heat and arboreal heat, and then throughout the night time it's just that little bit warmer than the majority of the things in the actual enclosure. And I think that's because it is much more of a ceramic material. Now his substrate is a big debate among everybody. Let me explain the substrate before anybody starts commenting bad things about it. That substrate is a vet prescribed substrate, simply because when we got Diego, his claws were bent under and into his foot. So that substrate is there to help strengthen the muscle growth in the tops of his toes. That's just what the vet recommended. That will be coming out very soon, and we're going fully bioactive with that enclosure. We've tried to go bioactive before, but it got a bit dusty and a bit horrible and nasty. And I put that down to the substrate I was using. And I've spent literally 2 years trying to find the perfect substrate for an arid species. Because if you can see this enclosure behind me, that is going to be built up as a huge 4 foot leopard gecko bioactive enclosure. Now I've found the perfect substrate I can go for. That perfect substrate is Bioactive Herps Arid Premium Substrate. It's absolutely amazing. It's exactly what I want. So I'm going to be trying that within the start of the new year, because that's got to get built up. Diego's enclosure's got to be built up, and I've even got to tart up a bit of Hugo's enclosure as well. Now we're going to move over to this part just over here. We've got a tarantula there to feed, we've got a centipede there to feed, and we've got another tarantula underneath there to feed as well. We'll give a bit of an update on that one as well. And I think that's the inverts we've got. We've got a white spot assassin bug babies, got some grubs and stuff like that. Let's go to these inverts and we'll see if they want a meal. First of all, we have got a brachypalma albipalossum. I'm sorry, it's not a brachypalma anymore. It's a kahl boob. What's it called? Titty cow? I don't goddamn know. This is a albipalossum tarantula. It's just recently been downgraded, I think, from not downgraded, but genus changed. Nowadays, back in the day, they used to describe and classify all the species they found, but nowadays they're starting to do an awful lot of genetic testing on them, and they found out that this wasn't actually a brachypalma like your normal brachypalmas. I'll show you a good brachypalma a bit later. I'll fill up his water bowl first, just there, and I'll drop a piece of food in there, see if he'll come out for it. This one is a male, and I've had him since he was a 1 centimetre sling. I've had him for nearly a year and a half, but this goes to show just how quick brachypalma genuses actually, or not I'm going to get so confused with that. I really want to make her have a really nice enclosure one day. Nope, that one, guys, is a failure. But we do have two of the same genus and, well, the same species of tarantula. So should we have a look at the other one? Now, the story behind this other one is it was in that enclosure just there, but it burrowed itself. As soon as I made this really nice bioactive enclosure for it, and then it burrowed into a corner, and I never saw it for about a month. And I was starting to get a bit worried. So I managed to dig it out. I got told off for digging it out because it could have been in pre-molt. It wasn't in pre-molt because I'd recently seen it molt. And then we basically put it in a tub just down there. Again, made it a bit more naturalistic with a little bit of clean-up crew. And I've not seen it since. This is going to be the first time I've opened this tub up to actually see what's happening. I have a really good feeling it's probably burrowed down in another hide. But let's run through and have a look and see if she'll take a meal. Here we go, guys. So I've got a few superworms here from my superworm breeding farm. If you want to learn how I actually breed superworms, I'll stick a card just up there. Click on that and it'll show you how I breed superworms. But this is the enclosure. Right, and I can't see a tarantula in there. So there's a couple of things we can do first to have a look. I personally think you can see a hole just there. Let me see. Can you guys see that hole just there? I have a feeling she's going to be down there. To be fair, that piece of corkbark was a hide and the opening was just there. So she's gone into the opening and chances are she's burrowed down underneath that little hole just there. But we've got a coconut hide just there, so I'll check inside that first. Let's zoom out a little bit and we'll spin it round. Right, actually what I'm going to do is have a look inside. Right, guys, I've got something to show you. Let me just get the camera off. So you can see just there is where that burrow starts, and it goes down and to there. So chances are she's actually in there. She's made her own burrow, which is absolutely fascinating. So I probably won't disturb it too much. I will, however, have a look inside that coconut hide, but she's not in there. Her water dish is still full, so she could well be just down there. But I can't see her, and I'm not going to drop a worm in there, just in case she is pre-molting and stuff like that. But that is the enclosure that we used. We've got some live plants over there that aren't really doing too well, but loads of different textures for her to walk through and to burrow under, and yeah, she's just absolutely fascinating. I love the fact that she burrows so wildly. But I'm not even going to attempt to feed her. That is the the titty cow, I don't know, the albipalossum, the curly hair tarantula. You're still a brachypalma, aren't you? Here's our brachypalma homori. She's in a fully naturalistic sort of setup, absolutely huge. And who knew I'd get in so much trouble for having or replicating the natural habitat. The amount of people that hate me for her having this big enclosure, I just get so much knackering all the time. Everyone has a go at me for it. No, I'm doing it wrong. Who knew replicating the natural habitat would be so much trouble? Anyway, there's a Brachypalma homori. She's absolutely stunning. I'm just going to class that as both the tarantulas have failed to feed. But in there, those two, we've got some grubs which eventually turn into beetles. Over there is our baby white spot assassin bugs. In there, we have got absolutely nothing. It's just a bioactive enclosure that I'm letting the cleanup crew sort of explode in. It did used to have a Poecilotheria regalis in there, but she reached the end of her life. That was the enclosure that's, again, currently empty, which I'm actually thinking about going down the line of mourning geckos, because I get fascinated by the parthenogenesis of that exact species. In here is Satan. We call him Steve because he's a spiny, venomous git. And if you can see, down that back corner is a centipede. I will actually put a worm in there to see if he'll feed. Here we go, there's a superworm, gone right near him. It's the first time he's had a superworm, because every time I've put one in there, it's just burrowed and he's not really been able to find it too much. But he smashed it. Go mental for it. It's tangled up in the weeds. Whoa. Yeah, okay then, the centipede has had a meal. So right now, we're going to be checking out the leopard geckos. We have got a male breeder leopard gecko over there. Diego's going mental down there. You can have some superworms in a minute. He's just seen me get the superworms out. Yeah, we've got a male breeder leopard gecko, just a normal morph down there. And over in that one just there, we have got two female leopard geckos. We have got an absolute ton of superworms. We have got a dish with calcium with vitamin D3, because neither of these leopard geckos actually have UVB lighting at the moment. Let me explain that one shortly. But we're not going to give them too much, but just enough, because it is that time of the year where we're trying to beef up the female leopard geckos ready for the breeding season, because we do breed female leopard geckos. Now the reason, which I've never divulged into this, but the reason I actually breed leopard geckos, because I am quite one of those fans that say there's too many leopard gecko breeders out there. I'm actually breeding them for experience, because I have a future plan and a future goal, but I need 3 years of lizard breeding experience before I'll be accepted to do these plans. I am planning in another 2 years to captive breed for wild conservation English native sand lizards, because they are endangered. There is a few people that do it, and then you need loads of permits, loads of this, you need this experience, that experience, and that's what I'm building up over the time, because that'll be an amazing project to do in the future. Captive breeding for wild conservation, dead local to me. I have got their natural habitat. There's only 3 places in the whole of the UK that actually quite happily house these lizards, these sand lizards. They're only small lizards, but they're endangered and they're endemic to the UK. So if I can breed them, that'll be mind-blowing. That'd be amazing. I can help rejuvenate the colony of sand lizards in the UK. I've gibbered on about that too much. I've got a few Morio worms in there. The rest are in there because we're planning on feeding Hugo a bit later as well. And if Diego stops ratting around, he might get 1 or 2 as well. Right, we'll start with the male breeder. There he is. He's got a bulb tail. That's what it was when we first got him. And I'll drop that just in there and you'll see him grab it in a second. Now, if you've watched a live stream recently, he had a little problem. He's perfectly fine now. You gonna eat it, mate? You can see it. Oh, there we go. Dum. Oof. Yeah, he napped that one perfectly. Right, let's get a close-up of that bowl, because I am going to put another one in that bowl for him, because he's a big dude. You want it? Boof, there you go. There's another one in there for you, mate. Can you see it? Dum. Boof. He's absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get him out of this tub, because I'm not a rack fan. Hence why the 2 above him are empty, which I'll show you them in a second. I'll put another one in there. You can have that one, and then that'll be him done for today. And yep, that's the rack. You can see that one's empty and that one's empty, because I'm going to be using them to help with my dubia roach breeding colony, which is this one up here. I do an awful lot of videos on this channel to do with dubia roach breeding, how you can do it more successfully. If you want to know more about how to breed dubia roaches, just click on that card just there. But let's move on to the female leopard geckos, which happens to be just over here. This is a 3-foot enclosure. Yes, we do cohabitate 2 female leopard geckos. Let me explain how we do it successfully. We have about 12 hides in this 3-foot enclosure, and that is what does it perfectly fine. They've got their own hides. They've got a massive moist hide over the back corner. This isn't their lifetime enclosure. I'll run over that enclosure just next, but early part of January, these are going to be getting a massive upgrade. They're going to be going into a 4-foot enclosure, and you can see Donna stick her head out just there. So I'll drop her meal directly in front of her and see if she'll take it. Oh, she's a blazing blizzard. There she goes. Oh, and these are going to get a massive bioactive upgrade. It's going to be absolutely massive. Hey, up, both the leopard geckos are there, so I'll try and get Donna over here, and I'll put Millie's just out of that hide just there, because that's where she is. You can see her head poking out the hide. Got another one on standby here. Go on, mate. You're going the wrong way, girl. Oh, you're not taking that one. This one's for her. These are getting ready for the season now, so they're a little bit off their food. Let's turn you around so you'll go into the hide. There you go. She's had one. Donna's had 2. That's Millie, the normal, that's just come out the hide just there. And yeah, these are absolutely amazing. And they are going to be getting a full UVB, full bioactive setup, deep heat projector, or it's a infrared heat projector, which has been around longer than the deep heat projector. Sorry, Arcadia, I don't mean to bash you, but it is what it is. All right, I'll drop that one just in there for her. And you can have one just there as well. Oh. What I'll do then, I'll just leave these straight in the food bowl for them to go and get. And I've also got one more left in here, which I'll put that in there as well, because none of the other animals I have calcium with D3. Down the bottom here, this is the bottom one. You can see you've got all the inverts at the top there, leopard geckos there. Down the bottom, we have got a super pastel yellow-bellied royal python. He's absolutely amazing. He's in this enclosure here, which I really want to do a much bigger enclosure, but that's for, I think, later on in the year. He went on a feeding strike for around about 6 months, back on his food now. He's had 3 meals and digested them absolutely perfectly. He is absolutely stunning, so I'm really happy that he's back on his food. But yeah, he's just in a 3-foot enclosure, heated with a heat mat. Nothing really that special about the enclosure. He's just got his bare essentials and a tiny little bit of enrichment, which is something I do really push, is enrichment. I do like an animal with full enrichment, but there he is once again, just sat there sticking his head out the hide. Diego is going absolutely mental for these superworms. So I've just put some normal calcium on with multivitamin, and I'll let him take it off my hand. There we go. Oof. He loves his superworms. There we go. And because you're such a douchey dude, I'll stick a couple of superworms in with your salad today, mate. Ugh. Then we jump down to Mushu. Let me show you Mushu. There's Mushu. He's a Callus versicolor, and this is his enclosure. Now the story behind Mushu is absolutely fascinating. He's a stowaway. He came to the UK in a shipment of wood from South Asia. He loves being up there with his UVB lighting. It's just a sort of half bioactive sort of quarantine enclosure until we get him totally sorted and ready. He's got a decent cleanup crew in there, but that is Mushu. But there he is, a live planted sort of quarantine enclosure for the Callus versicolor Mushu. Directly above Mushu is another bioactive enclosure. Let me show you this one. This is a zebra tarantula, a Savannah tarantula. New Dawn LED light from Reptile Systems. He's got his hide down there, live planted. Amazing water dish. That come from a subscriber, Lewis Gaskell, made that. He 3D printed it. Now the joy with this enclosure, let me show you a little hack I've got, because you might be able to see him. If we go around the back of the hide and then we go down, You can see the hole just there. And you can possibly just about make out the tarantula's legs just in there. So it's like a little peephole so that we can actually see the actual tarantula in its hide if we want to see that it's okay. He's got the extra height so that he just has a bit of extra height to sort of walk on really, but that is his amazing bioactive enclosure. Now on to what a lot of people say is my best reptile that I own, the one that they all love, and that is Hugo, my Savannah monitor. We're going to give him a feed while we're talking you through absolutely everything. Do you want to go down, mate? It's Hugo anyway. I know it's a bit dark over there, you can't really see him too well. I'll try and get him a bit closer with a bit of food. Oof, there we go. Gives him a good bit of exercise, this does. So Hugo's enclosure at the moment is a 6-foot enclosure. Now that's only because he's still growing. As you can tell, he's not fully grown. These are a large lizard for captivity, but actually in the wild, classed as a medium-sized lizard. He's heated up by a couple of Reptile Systems D3 basking bulbs, and he's also got an extra, it's an old T8 10% that he's got in there as well. But the D3 basking bulbs, they give off the majority of his heat and light anyway, so that's everything perfect for him. He's absolutely amazing. Look at it, he's got a bit of calcium on his side. He gets fed on insects because he is an insectivore. Very, very rarely he will get a full-bodied animal, whether it be a small rodent of some description or fish. He just gets something. And as you can tell, he eats a lot of bugs. He loves to play with his food. I'll try and get him further away from the camera so you can actually see him a bit better. Hey mate, you've missed it. It's over here. Oh, there you go. He's absolutely amazing, is Hugo. And he is the star of our channel. Everyone loves him because he is amazing. He's the reason we started to breed a lot of our live food, because he just eats so much live food. But this is something that a lot of people need to do. You need to give your Savannah monitors extremes amount of exercise, because they can get a disease called fatty liver disease. And the way to not get fatty liver disease is to not feed rodents totally and to give them as much physical exercise as possible. That's one of the reasons why they need that bigger enclosure, because eventually he's going to have a massive enclosure. It's going to be 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot, which is the minimum requirement for these. Maybe one day I'll get a bigger place and I can provide him with a lot more space. Oh, over there. There you are, mate. I think you've had about enough now, Hugo, don't you? It's over here, mate. Oh, there. Huh. That gives me a chance to get this one back, and poof, there you go. Anyway, guys, that is Hugo, our Savannah monitor. Do you remember when I was showing you the leopard geckos and I said they've got a big enclosure? That's their enclosure just there. It's going to be fully lit up with UVB lighting, that's already in there. We've got a full custom background to do, tons of hides, fully bioactive with the plant life. It's going to be heated by a infrared heat projector. It's going to be absolutely perfect with all the modern day sort of science and technologies involved in with it. It's going to be amazing. So if you want to see that, hit subscribe. But let's move on to our last animal, which is just a common boa constrictor. She's just had a meal, so I can't get this girl out. And to be fair, she's probably hiding because it is middle of the day now. But we'll try our best. Let's show you Rosie. Here is Rosie's enclosure. She's in a 4 foot enclosure. There you go, you can see her just there. She's just had a meal, so don't really want to disturb her too much. But yes, general 4 foot enclosure. Heated up with a CHE ceramic heat element above that grid just there. There's the thermostat probe you can see over that back corner. There she is. I love the boa constrictor moustache on the faces. That's just absolutely amazing, it really is. And yeah, this is her enclosure. Cocoa fibre and orchid bark substrate. Water bowl just down there. I've done that water bowl just because it's so much easier to clean. But yeah, there's Rosie. Boa constrictor. She's about 4 foot long, nothing special. She thinks she's going to get fed again. She's very, very food orientated. So I'm going to leave that one just here for now. And basically take this opportunity to thank every single one of you for the last 12 months. This channel has grown massively. It's given me loads of confidence, and you've been able to help me afford all the enrichment that's going into these animals within the next 12 months. I highly appreciate each and every one of you in your own special way. You're all absolutely amazing. Here's to 2020. I hope you all have an amazing year. I'm going to make it my year. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you've appreciated the video and liked it, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing. If you want to watch any more videos, I have spoke quite a lot about breed your own live food, because I do a lot of those videos. So I'll stick a playlist just up there and another video down there. If you want to keep watching something, click on them and have a look. Thanks for tuning in, guys.